Hey everybody, it's Jeremy Bradley here, and it's time for the BuffRadio.com entertainment wrap-up presented by Buff Boy Brewing Company.
JB's Entertainment Wrap-Up.
Brought to you by BuffBoyBrewing.com. For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you'll surely feel naughty when you swallow their coffee. Shop Buff Boy Brewing's premium collections of coffee and tea at BuffBoyBrewing.com. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough buff. Here's what's making news this June 3rd. Another shocking shakeup at CBS. The legendary news magazine 60 Minutes has been a ratings winner for decades, but ever since the new editor-in-chief Barry Weiss got her claws on the show, staff have been dropping like crazy. Initially, Anderson Cooper was the highest profile departure, saying that he chose to leave because of the direction of the show. Then there was an internal meeting where longtime correspondent Scott Pelley blew up at the newly installed executive producer Nick Bilton on Monday. One day later, Pelley was fired. He'd been with CBS since 1989. All right, so let's rewind. There is a lot to unpack here. At the staff meeting, Bilton, a tech journalist with no experience in running a TV news show, was introduced to staff, and reports say Pelley went off, confronting Bilton and criticizing Weiss. Sources at the meeting said Pelley confronted Bilton, saying that he would, quote, never be welcome here, end quote, to which Bilton fired back, "You are not going to intimidate me in front of this group of people." Pelley also took aim at Weiss, suggesting that she is, quote, murdering 60 Minutes. She was brought in to kill it and is doing exactly that, end quote. The back and forth dragged out for 15 minutes until ultimately Bilton walked out, and we're told staff burst into applause and a standing ovation when he exited the room, something the team says he must have heard as he left. In response to the confrontation, Bilton sent Pelley a note saying, quote, despite yesterday's misconduct, I had hoped that in sitting down with you today, we could find a path forward together. You made clear that you are not interested in such a plan. You hijacked my first meeting with staff to disparage me, my qualifications, and my intentions with remarkable incivility and contempt, a performative display of hostility, no interest in contributing to the future success of the show, or approaching my new tenure with a mind open to collaboration and progress. Your employment with CBS is terminated for cause, effective immediately. What's interesting, CBS staffers thought that Pelley was starting a summer vacation on Tuesday. Instead, he was reportedly summoned for a meeting with management that afternoon. Sources said both Bilton and Weiss were there, as was the CBS News president, Tom Zebrowski, and someone from HR. And you know any meeting with HR is not ending in your favor. Trust me, I was fired from so many jobs before I started my own media company. You go to a meeting with your manager and you see somebody from HR sitting there, you're done. Figure out how you're getting home and what you're having for lunch when you go. So after his firing, Pelley wrote, new management instructed me to inject falsehoods and bias into a politically sensitive story. I've been told to include assertions that are unverified. To date, in every case, I have managed to ignore these instructions or refuse them. Recently, politicians have been invited to choose correspondents for interviews on the broadcast. Giving politicians control over 60 Minutes interviews is not how this is done. Finally, incompetence and unprofessionalism in the new management have wreaked havoc. In a case involving one of my stories, the entire program came within 19 minutes of not getting on the air at all. The collapse of values at the top has become untenable. The leadership of 60 Minutes is no longer recognizable. The principles I hold dear are gone, and so I must leave as well. I depart after 37 years at CBS with one emotion, a heart brimming with gratitude for the men and women of CBS News who encouraged and enriched my work, very often at the risk of their own lives. I pray for a day when those people and their ideals are honored again, a day when sanity, competence, and courage return, end quote. Talk about going out with a blaze of glory. Now it's reported that Pelley was paid $5 million per year and had at least 1 year left on his contract. No word how the network will handle the money matters. Now, in addition to Pelley's exit, and I mentioned Cooper, there have been several high-profile 60 Minutes exits in the past few weeks. Correspondent Sharon Alfonsi was fired, she says, in an attempt to penalize journalists for resisting editorial interference. Correspondent Cecilia Vega said her contract was terminated early, she says, for speaking out about efforts to insert political bias into stories. The show's longtime executive producer Tanya Smith was booted in what was considered a structural overhaul. Another executive producer, Bill Owens, resigned, citing a loss of journalistic independence. That's maybe just because I've been in the news business for over 20 years, it's fascinating to me, and that is a check of your celebrity headlines for this Wednesday, June 3rd. I'm back tomorrow right here on the BuffRadio.com Entertainment Wrap-Up presented by Buff Boy Brewing Company. Till next time, I'm Jeremy Bradley.
For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and your show